Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Fanzone Debate. We have a title match for you today. We have Cody Newberry looking to defend his belt once again, and he's going up against the former Fanzone Debate champion, Jacoby Bancroft. Jacoby and Cody have fought before, not in a title match. They played in I want to say a contender match. I'm pretty sure a contender match. Might not have been a contender match. I don't remember. But they played, and Cody won that time. But then now he's looking to defend that belt. Jacoby maybe wants to get that belt back. I don't know. These guys are two dear friends, but yet before they get into the debates, they're like, "Oh, I don't know. It's going to go how it's going to go. I feel confident. I don't know." And then the match starts and they like rip each other's throats out. It's going to be great. Mark, you're here. Welcome. Thank you for being here. How are you doing, my friend? And what do you think of the matchup?
I'm doing okay. Yeah, I think we're in for a good one. Cody's out on this belt for a bit now, and it's very good. And I've said how Jacoby sometimes makes me uncomfortable watching him here. I've say that several times, but I think we're in for a good one.
And Kirk, you are here. How are you doing, sir? And what do you think of the match?
Yeah, Jacoby's back in this position. I think first time since I played him. And he definitely, I'm glad to see him here because he deserves it. And I know he takes this seriously, and he is that level of player that should be here more often. I'm surprised this is his first title match in a while. And Cody, like Mark said, has had his belt for a while. This, I know from experience, you get to a point in a long reign like this where, heavy starts to lie the head that wears the crown. And, you're playing 5-round matches against the top tier players all the time, and it wears on you. But I know Cody prepares. I know Cody is not going to like run out of energy or, kind of get burnt out on this. I know he thrives on this. So it's going to be an interesting match. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are going to talk to the players real quick before we get into the match. We're going to bring in Jacoby. Jacoby, was my examination of you correct? I think I did the same thing last time. But are you excited to play Cody? Do you have knots in your stomach? How are we feeling?
I don't know. I'm confident. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. No, I feel good. Like it's gonna be good. I'm both. It's weird to say, but it's like I'm excited for it. But I'm a little less nervous than I usually am. But also like just because I know this is going to be good. I've made it here to a title match again. It's been a while, and I think that's an exciting thing. And that's like what I'm choosing to focus on. How Cody and I feel about each other afterwards, I'm very curious about because our relationship is different now, but I bet it'll be fine and I'll bet it'll be fun. And I'm like, my goal, I said before this, it's like, I'm going to try to be calmer in this one. And I was like, no, I'm not. Like, I can't do that. Like, I can't even promise that. So, yeah, but I'm excited. I know we're going to be here for a while. So, you'll hear me talk a lot. So, yes, bring it on, Cody. I'm excited for this.
All right, well, let's bring in Mr. Newberry. Cody, welcome to the match. This is now your, I want to say, fourth?
Jesus
match?
Christ.
Your fourth title match where, you've defended. Yeah, you've defended 3 times, right? Yeah, so you have done a lot with it. This is your 5th title match total, and after, winning it against Kirk and then 3 defenses. So impressive resume for sure. The last time you played Jacoby, I looked, it was not a number 1 contender match. It sent Cody to a contender match. But Cody, how are you feeling going up against Jacoby? Are you different this time? Are you still nervous? What are your thoughts?
Maybe you can fact check this. Was that leading back to Kirk the second time, or was that to get to? Okay,
it sent you to Coho, which sent you to Kirk.
Okay, so that basically was a way different me. That was, as people knew me, after losing to Kirk that first time, I was shooketh. I was not in a good spot, like, mentally. Blade Runner still gives me PTSD. But overall, I've come to terms with I'm comfortable either way. I win or lose. But that doesn't make me less hungry to play. I've competed everything I wanted to. Like, I beat Kirk, unfortunately, twice now for him, but I beat him twice. So I have the matchup on him at this point, and I think he is the best that this league has had. And then if Jacoby beats me, he evens the score. But overall, like, I'll still be around. I get some time. I won't get to play as often because I have that automatic if I lose. So that's kind of unfortunate. But overall, like, I will
You don't
never
have
just
to use it.
True. I just never.
What?
That's interesting. Then maybe I won't do that. But I like the prep. I love this league because I like to prep and I like to prepare and I like to understand when my opponent picked what they picked and like battle in different arenas and trivia. It's the exact same formats all the time. I can debate 7 million different topics in one thing. So this is why I like it. So yeah, if Jacoby wins, this is totally different because if Jacoby wins, I'm very happy for Jacoby. I've become really close friends with Jacoby at this point. So if he wins, he definitely deserves it. He is in that top 3 echelon of this league. So he deserves the belt, but doesn't make me any more. Like, I'm going to still try to beat him bad, but we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, for the record, if you tell me, hey, I don't want to do the cash in, I want to earn my way to it, I'll make that happen. So let's get into it. Here's how it's going to work. So because this is a title match, there are 5 prep questions instead of 4 prep questions. Cody got to pick 3 categories. Jacoby still picks 2. And we gave them questions based off of the categories that they drafted. They are going to debate those tonight before our very souls. So each gets 1 minute opening for each question, followed by a 5-minute freeform, followed by a 1-minute closing at the end of each debate. Kirk, Mark, and I will write on our boards who we thought won the point. And if you get 2 points, you win the question. And if you get 4 points total, 4 questions, you get the win. So if we are at a 3-2 score after the 5 prep questions, we will move to a bonus round. So any questions from the players?
Please let's not do the bonus round, Jacoby.
Sure. Okay. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's rock.
All right. Well, if there's no questions, then we will get started. All right, kicking this one off, we are going to start with the first category, which was drafted by Cody. It is in the category of directors. The question is, what is the best destruction scene in a Roland Emmerich film? So Cody gets to kick this one off. He has 1 minute to open his argument. When he starts talking, Cody, I will come in to give you a 10-second warning when the time comes.
I love that you led with just directors. I picked Roland Emmerich for the reason Tim's just not a psychopath that put this. Best destruction, I picked the Master of Disaster for this, and I got a disaster question, so I kind of liked it. Roland Emmerich, what he does well is maybe not characters or scripts or anything, but what he does is to destroy the things that you recognize in the world and does a really good job destroying it. I picked the tornado scene in Los Angeles in The Day After Tomorrow. I'm a big fan of Twister, so I think it like adds to that Twister environment because seeing a Twister, especially half the country doesn't really experience a lot of Twisters, seeing them rip through a place that doesn't normally get them, tearing down the Hollywood sign, the Capitol Records building, like all these things, billboards, it affects so many people. No one, and it's not just one Twister, it's like 8 Twisters. He goes overboard. He just throws them all out there. It's ripping through Los Angeles. It's an awesome scene. That's why I picked it.
Time. Okay. So we'll move over to Jacoby. Jacoby, you now have 1 minute when you start talking.
The best destruction scene in a Roland Emmerich film is the aliens' first major attack in Independence Day. Seeing just the aliens wipe out some of the other recognizable landmarks in one big colossal explosion is the type of spectacle that defined Roland Emmerich's career and something he really has been chasing ever since. This is an incredible sequence, not just for its time and devotion to looking great with a mixture of practical effects where it counts, which gives it a special punch-up when destroying buildings, but for the build and tension around the moment. Up until then, moment, the ship ominously hover over our planet, and no one really knows what to do. But as soon as we learn that the sequence Jeff Goldblum finally cracks is a countdown, then it immediately rackets up the tension as characters we do care about are suddenly forced to make an escape, and our characters barely dodge what turns out to be the best, tensest destruction scene Roland Emmerich has ever done. The way that it ups the ante and everything, it defines his career. It's the type of set piece that puts a disaster movie director on the map, and it totally did. So this big scene is his best one.
Time. Okay. 5-minute freeform when one of you starts talking. I will throw up the 1-minute warning when the time comes and still come in for the 10 seconds. If I feel like we need to move on because we're just talking too much about the same shit, I'm going to throw that up. And if you're over talking, you're not letting your opponent talk, I'm going to throw that up. And don't make me do that. I will send Nick Tuig to your house. It's not going to be pretty. So 5 minutes when one of you starts talking.
I can't believe that two of your arguments in your opening point was, one, I'm a big fan of Twister. Thanks for reminding me that there's a better Twister movie out there. And also, he destroys what you recognize by destroying the Capitol Records building in Los Angeles, where my scene destroys the White House and the Empire State Building. Two things that mostly more benefit my scene instead of yours. So that was an interesting way to start off.
Yeah, just because, Twister in a movie, to add more Twisters into it, still has that same environment. Not saying one's better or not, but he able to add destruction throughout the city. Yours suffers from practical effects, which is a crazy thing. I know movie fans are going to lose their mind, but you see how small of a scale it is actually destroying it on rewatches. Over enhancement over the time. Most iconic, what he did at the time, you're right. But as at best, not even close. The fact that you missed from your entire argument, yes, the beam that knocks out 3 buildings that are so interesting is overshown by 2 minutes of fire, that CGI fire rolling through the city that you can't see anything, and just let's throw random cars at. It's not a destruction scene. No character that you care about is impacted whatsoever in this. That's why my scene ranks better.
You're making very interesting arguments because, like, you say you don't like it's too much of a practical effect when you see the White House and the Empire State Building destroyed. Oh. Those are amazing effects, especially compared to the gray sludge that are the tornadoes in Day After Tomorrow, where it's just gray winds going around. And the fact that you say, oh, it's a big firewall chasing characters you don't know about. I actually have a main character in my sequence, Vivica A. Fox, with her child and her dog who are outrunning the things. You have Jeff Goldblum and everybody, the main characters on a plane. You know where your main characters are? What do you mean they're not in danger? They're outrunning the explosion. Your characters, Jake Gyllenhaal and Dennis Quaid, are literally watching this from the background, where no-name characters are being the ones standing there watching the tornadoes. Because you know why? You have to see running away from fire, because you can't outrun a tornado. You have to sit and watch it, and that makes your characters dumb. In every aspect, it just ruins the scene and deflates everything. And all your points you're making make my scene so much better.
I think it's really interesting. What I said was, when its practical effects make it look bad, because it's miniature, the destruction is not real, it doesn't look real, and it's a bunch of people staring at the thing instead of the initial explosion, and then everything goes away. I'm sorry that they didn't do color design in a Twister. I don't know if you know what Twisters look like, but they are gray. You can't really see. It's a dark sky, and if you watched my scene, it literally gets engulfed in flames. One of them gets engulfed in flames at one point. It also leaves with a great shot in the Capitol Record building where the guy walks out and it's just light, and it's shown that the entire building escaped gone. There's so much destruction in this movie. They're trying to lead everybody to tell you, hey, the things that happen in normal day life are not happening. The tornado hits Los Angeles and multiple. The helicopters are flying in. There's so much more destruction in my scene. Yours is more than just a fireball coming at the audience the entire time. Then actually,
it is an ominous threat. It is a threat from the outside world. Aliens, which is something. We never see tornadoes in LA. We never see aliens invade the Earth. It is awe-inspiring. We don't know what these aliens are going to do. Then they open up and wipe out, completely annihilate both of the major capitals, New York City and Washington D.C. The fact that it seems like you're hinging it on the fact that we've never seen tornadoes in LA before. It's like, and that's what makes it kind of cool. No, I think aliens destroying shit is what makes it a really cool destruction scene. Natural weather disasters flying around are like nice, but they're still just harkening back to what Roland Emmerich did before, which is my scene, which is giant beams of explosions and death. I'm glad you said like, oh yeah, my scene has fire well. You know what does fire better? My scene, the way that they do that. Your scene said it ends with a really good shot of the tornado wiping out the building. No, yes, you do. You see the characters running away from it, and you see characters reacting to it. Vivica A. Fox and the president.
Let's trade eyes so I can see finally in your scene, because you're the one that only can see clearly in your scene. Yours is just a beam that shoots down that everybody knows, and everybody evacuates from the buildings because a giant thing is above them, and everybody just looks at it with their eyes turn green. And then when they destroy, they turn around, and everybody has to run the opposite direction because flames are shooting at them, and you can't see anything. Mine, at least, I can see every twister, every destruction. You got to talk. Every destruction, every car flip, billboard smacking into people, Hollywood sign getting ripped apart, the iconic spots of it. That's what you want in a destruction scene. I don't need plot. I don't need plot points or destruction. I need destruction, and that's exactly what he does, and he does it well and destroys Los Angeles with 8 twisters. What else do you want?
And he destroys New York with aliens and everything. He does yours is just that, just destruction. My scene is destruction and everything else with
best destruction scene,
with a good perspective, with everything of it. It adds to the destruction.
Best destruction scene.
Best destruction scene. Strike it for the record. So we are going to start with Jacoby. Jacoby, you get to close first. You have 1 minute when you start talking.
I think on every level, my destruction scene is better. It's better from a character perspective, which Cody doesn't say is important, but I think is absolutely important, because it's important to have characters that you care about actually in danger reacting to these sort of things. Every main character is in danger of these aliens being wiped out. Nobody is involved in the twisters that we know about besides just sitting there and watching. Characters we care about are in danger, and they're barely they're barely escaping from it. My scene's better from a scope perspective, as it showcases just kind of how big of a threat these aliens are and how doomed we are with these super weapons capable of wiping us out so easily. Tornadoes in LA, that's interesting. What's going to happen there? Aliens come to Earth and destroy entire cities, flatline everything. Cody says that my characters just sit there and watch. No, it's because the lead up to that moment is them in awe of the aliens. Aliens have come down. It starts off as pretty cool and quickly turns to destruction. Tornadoes come down and everyone's just like, I wonder what these tornadoes are going to do. I'm going to sit and watch these kind of destroy everything. See, oh God, I'm sucked up in the wind. It doesn't make it the best. Best is depth. Best is perspective. Best is everything, and everything adds to my scenes. Well, Cody is so bland in one note.
One note. Strike it from the record. We're going to bring in Mr. Newberry. Cody, 1 minute when you start talking.
Really complicating overall the best destruction scene. What gets destroyed and why is it the best? You're trying to add so many elements to improve yours because you did pick probably the most iconic, but overall best because that's when he first did it. Tornadoes destroying. The characters all react to it. They don't know how to react to it because they've never seen it really in that town, and it's coming out of different directions. Helicopters are trying to avoid it. Billboards are flying down. Cars are going flying. Yours is literally just the set pieces. Let's put the main things in there. Let a beam hit them. We'll see glass break, and then a fireball runs down. You said Vivica Fox is there. You don't even say anything important about her. She's never in danger at one point in your scene, so it doesn't make it. Mine has the most damage possible in my scene. It destroys the entire city with a multitude of tornadoes, and it was so unpredicted. That's why it's the best destruction. I don't need character development or anything. Did shit go up in the air and did shit come down in multiple pieces? That's what I want in the best destruction scene, and Roland Emmerich did it in this.
In this, strike it from the record.
You're on a delay.
Okay. You're going to bring in the judges. Maggie called me in the middle of that, and she goes, oh, no, is Cody challenging something? I said, no, it's a debate. And she goes, oh, that makes more sense. She just heard Cody yelling through the phone. Cody must be challenging something. Oh, man. All right, you guys ready?
No.
Okay.
Still. Oh, man. All right.
Okay. Kirk's really excited. I'm gonna kick this off, and I went with Cody. I thought that both did a good job. You know, I knew. I shouldn't say I know. You have predictions about what the arguments are kind of going to be based off of the picks, and I was expecting Cody to throw the iconic thing at Jacoby, but he actually had a lot more against Jacoby's scene than I anticipated. I thought that was going to kind of be it, but he had a lot of good points to make against it. And I think Jacoby did a good job of tearing down Cody's as well, with just like the effects also aren't that good, and the characters aren't anything special. But at the end of the day, Cody's closing really did convince me that, like, you know, if you're going into a best destruction, what is the thing where there's the most damage, unpredictability? And Jacoby did talk about, you know, the fact that like aliens coming down is unpredictable, but at the same time, like, you kind of go into that movie like knowing that's coming. Cody's talked about how his is like, you didn't see like tornadoes in LA coming, and it totally just wipes out everything, and it's huge and massive and takes out a whole city. And I thought that was pretty cool. So Mark, you're going next.
All right. Kirk, your vote's gonna matter. I went with Jacoby. I feel like Jacoby made the argument he had to, at least for this Independence Day argument. I think I was swayed a little bit more on what Jacoby was saying about the stakes, about the characters involved, and how this kind of sets up everything for the movie. And I mean, I feel like they both made a very good argument, at least for destruction. I think Cody made about as good an argument for a day after tomorrow defense as you can. But I think, yeah, at the end of the day, I think I think Jacoby had answers for everything Cody brought him, and he defended as well.
Okay. Kirk, you're deciding it.
Yeah, this is definitely a championship match, and I like judging bad fights better than good ones, because I like when there's just one person sucks and you could just say you sucked. But these are both really good fights, and they both made really good arguments. It's interesting because every once in a while you get a question where there is one obvious answer, and I think it's a double-edged sword, because A, it's the obvious answer, but B, it, on the other hand, forces the other person to work a lot harder and have to dig a little deeper. And I think that's what Cody did, and I ended up going with Cody, because I just still feel like Jacoby made some really good points about the character and the tension and the depth and everything. But when it came down to the actual scene, I think it was just, hey, it's big things that we know better getting blown up bigger, where Cody gave me like details of what was happening in his scene, you know, things flying around, buildings getting destroyed, this building getting destroyed, this guy doing that, her tornado on fire, stuff like that. He was invoking his scene a lot more, I think, than Jacoby did. So, I mean, they both did good. You saw how long I sat here. It took me forever to judge that because I had a ton of notes on my board. And I think Cody just edged it out barely.
All right. Well, that means Cody wins the first point, but we are going to move on to the next question, which was drafted by Jacoby in the category of actors and actresses. And the question is, who is the most versatile actor or actress working today? Jacoby, you get to kick this one off. You have 1 minute when you start talking.
When presenting the Best Supporting Actor Award just like a few weeks ago, the very first thing Mahershala Ali said when introducing Mark Ruffalo was how for 3 decades, Ruffalo has been capturing us with his versatility. He is truly the most versatile actor working today. I think he's proven in the last 30 years that he can really do everything. He's been the leading man in rom-coms. He's been both the supporting and leading man in serious dramas. He's played subtle comedic performances that were nominated for Best Supporting Actor, like The Kids Are All Right, and he's played outlandish comedic overacting performances performances that were nominated for Best Supporting Actor, like in Poor Things. He's played 4 different variations of cops and detectives, with all of them being very vastly different characters. He has 4 Best Supporting Actor nominations for playing 4 very different, very interesting characters, while also being a guy seemingly content to play the Incredible Hulk with a CGI and dots on his face in the MCU forever. Hands down, Mark Ruffalo is the most versatile actor out there. He disappears in every single role and creates all these different characters, no matter what the role, and he's been doing it forever.
All right, we're going to move over to Cody. Cody, you have 1 minute to open your argument when you start talking.
A hard-nosed liberal lawyer, Macbeth, an assassin, a poverty father, a cop with a disturbing past, a Western bounty hunter. Denzel Washington, if we're going off of working today past 10 years, there is nobody that has done multiple characters better than Denzel Washington. Doesn't matter about lead, supporting, because guess what? Basically, if you're working in Hollywood, I believe you can play both parts well enough. Denzel Washington transforms every character he's in, makes every movie he's in better, and he can do multiple characters. Even in just The Equalizer, he plays 2 different characters at the exact same time. A calm, convenience store, hardware store worker, and a ruthless assassin in the exact same movie. He plays a dramatic poverty father with Viola Davis and horrible father to his kids in that breath, and then does Shakespeare. There's nobody working better than him.
Time. Okay. 2 excellent choices, gentlemen. 5-minute freeform when one of you starts talking.
Wild that you picked Mark Ruffalo. Versatile, maybe. I have no idea what you're talking about. Last 10 years, Dark Water, Spotlight, same exact character, 2 different beats. He's played Bruce Banner 7 times since 2012. Like, he doesn't range out differently. He's played a cop multiple times. If you're talking, this sounds like somebody that just watched Poor Things for the first time and said, man, Mark Ruffalo, never seen this before. If it's past this point working, maybe so. But Denzel Washington destroys him on every level, and it's not even close.
I will agree that Denzel is the better actor, but you know the problem with Denzel Washington in every single role that you named? He is Denzel Washington. Rue told me to do a Denzel Washington impression in this match, and I can't do that for obvious reasons, but we all know Denzel. Denzel is such an A-list presence that he transcends every single role that he does by being Denzel Washington.
Nerdy white guy.
Hold on. He is this mighty force of an actor who is always himself in everything. The depth that Mark Ruffalo disappears in every single role that he does, it's great that he's in the MCU. He is also in Academy Award nominated movies. Can Denzel Washington be in the MCU? Can he play the Hulk? No, he can't. That's what versatility is being able to play all these roles and not just be the same A-list charismatic presence that Denzel Washington is.
So no, here's the difference is, I don't know if you've seen Macbeth, but please show me where he does the Denzel in Macbeth. Absolutely not. Does Old English Shakespearean play out loud openly. Western bounty hunter, he doesn't do the Denzel that you always do. If that's his pattern of speech and you have a problem with how he talks, that's your own thing. But where he can play multiple characters over multiple different, you're doing the different thing of versatile where you can play supporting and lead. Wild choice on that thing. You're also talking Mark Ruffalo is so versatile, they planted him behind a CGI Hulk for the rest of the time where they just use his voice. He plays a nerdy white guy. He plays the cop that is investigating stuff. One's with a Boston accent, one's not. He doesn't do anything crazy. The one thing that he has stood out of his thing since Foxcatcher maybe was Poor Things. You have never discredited anything of the Denzel Washington, an assassin, Macbeth. He played Roman J. Esquire. That's totally different than who he is.
No, it is because all those roles that I'm talking about, I see Denzel Washington in every single one of these things, no matter what. I don't see Macbeth. I'm watching Denzel Washington. I am watching, he's playing his cool guy thing that he does in The Equalizer, that he's been doing in Crimson Tide, that he's been doing for the last 20 years. He's been doing his cool Denzel thing. All his cops that he plays in all the Tony Scott movies are all the same Denzel character that he plays. You say like Mark Ruffalo in the MCU is a fault because he's CGI. I'm saying that he has the capacity to do that. And you're saying like I can't choose supporting and supporting lead roles. I'm saying that's what makes him a versatile actor. He can disappear. He can be in these characters. He can be a supporting and contribute, or he could lead movies. The fact that he has played these 4 different cops and played it 4 different times in Zodiac, in Collateral, in let's see, the journalist in Spotlight, all of these roles capture versatility. While as apart from Denzel Washington, who is this A-list presence in everything that he does, versatility means being able to do everything. And while Denzel Washington is a great actor, he brings his Denzel-ness to everything that he does. For versatility, you need to expand those horizons, Cody. You need to be able to do comedy. You need to be able to do rom-coms. You need to be able to do in supporting. Can Denzel ever be a really supporting actor? No, he can't, because he is an A-list guy. So versatility means being able to do everything.
My guy has a best actor win for supporting. Thank you very much for that. My thing is where you're saying there's literally a lead out there. There's a campaign wanting him to be Magneto. He's so versatile. They want him in a different role in a comic book. He's just never taken a comic book role. He would absolutely crush a comic book role. He's never played the character that you're talking about in The Little Things. Not the same Denzel. In Western, when he's playing in The Magnificent Seven, he does not do that. He's actually the subdued character because Chris Pratt's that character.
He's Denzel Washington in this.
What about Fences? What about Fences when he plays a poverty-ridden dad that he's infidel? He's infidel with his wife. Like, he's not with her. Like, that's a character that he's showing multiple ranges. You're just says how much screen time can Ruffalo get in this movie? That's why he's versatile. He gets 30 minutes here, or he can do an hour. Denzel can do all of it and do it well. You're saying that, like,
you're saying that, okay, he could be in the MCU, but I haven't seen that happen. I've actually seen Mark Ruffalo in every single role that you can imagine. Comedy, both subtle comedies and Kids Are All Right, overacting comedies in Poor Things. Hold on. And then he was in everything, in rom-coms, in all these different comedies. He's in supporting serious dramas. He overacts. He's in fun, pulpy sci-fi dramas. He's in dramatic works, everything. What are you saying?
Name a sci-fi one. See, this is
the Adam Project. The Adam Project. He's right there. Yes, here's the
Oscar-winning Adam Project. Here's the problem.
Yes,
you're just
listing an Oscar-winning actor in a supporting
because
role.
Your guy just says yes to every film that comes along. Denzel's more selective. Doesn't make him more versatile.
All of them, and that's the point of versatility.
All right, Cody, you get to close first. You have 1 minute when you start talking.
What a complex way to describe your versatility. Just list a bunch of genres and say, this is my guy, and he's done it. Literally, I've listed multiple characters that he played, and his one downside is Denzel does the Denzel voice and everything. That doesn't make him versatile. He's been a coach. He's been a gangster. He's been a hitman. He's been a train conductor. He's been a train operator. He's been a cop with a disgruntled past, an assassin, liberal lawyer in Roman J. Esquire. He's played Malcolm fucking X. Like, yes, Denzel looks like that's who I see playing Malcolm X. Like, he was supporting actor in Glory. Like, you're listing all these things because Mark Ruffalo has been in these roles. Has he been successful? Not really. He has stayed in the one lane. The last 10 years, if I just give you the last 10 years, he has played the same character in Spotlight and Darkwater. He's played Bruce Banner 7 times. He has played Foxcatcher and Poor Things. Like, that's a great list. He's made a great money. And your counterpoint to sci-fi is the Adam Project. Get the fuck out of here. Netflix, like, he takes every role. Congrats.
All right. We're going to go to Jacoby. Jacoby, you have 1 minute to close when you start talking.
Cody is doing an interesting thing by naming Denzel's characters that he's played, but here's the thing about all those Denzel characters. You can't see past Denzel in any of those roles because it is Denzel Washington doing these roles. Yes, I am naming the fact that Mark Ruffalo can do all these things, that yes, he's played Bruce Banner 7 times in it, but I'm also saying the fact that he can do everything in between that. He can do the supporting leads, comedy, drama, everything, and he disappears into these roles every single time. Yes, from everything that he does, he shows from all the detectives that he played and the comedies that he played. Kids Are All Right, 13 Going on 30, and Poor Things. That shows versatility in the type of comedies that he can play. His detectives in Collateral to Zodiac and Journalist in Spotlight. That shows his versatility in the dramatic role. Mark Ruffalo is such a versatile actor that he can navigate within every genre that he participates in and do things differently every single time. Whereas Denzel, you get Denzel, who is a fantastic actor in every single role. Yes, my actor is in a lot of different things and he says yes to a lot of projects, but he's successful at every single one of these things that he participates in, that he works in, and that he's great in because he is so versatile.
Time. Okay. Ellie must have heard you guys and really enjoyed it. Okay.
Why? We were so quiet.
All right. All right. I'm ready. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, Kirk. Or no. Yeah, Kirk.
Yeah.
You're starting.
Okay. Based solely on this 5-minute argument period, I went with Jacoby. Jacoby and these freaking actors and actors question. Just as Florence Pugh was the absolute wrong answer, Mark Ruffalo was the absolute wrong answer. But he does this thing where he gets under the other person's skin and he just kind of dominates the argument by saying things that probably aren't true, because Mark Ruffalo plays the same character in every movie he's in too, regardless of what he is. But I think Jacoby just argued the Denzel thing better. I don't think Cody hit that. If he would have hit back with Mark Ruffalo's the same guy in every and came up with arguments like that, like Jacoby did with Denzel, I would have went with him. But I hate to do it because he's wrong, but I went with Jacoby.
Okay. I'm going next. I also went with Jacoby. I like both of these actors quite a bit. And I think that I don't feel as strongly as Kirk does about what is necessarily the right or the wrong answer. I actually, based on the picks, I probably would have picked Jacoby's, but Cody had me convinced about when he started, like all the different characters and different types of movies. And I thought the best supporting Oscar win was like a fucking punch to the dick on Jacoby. That was great. But at the end of the day, Jacoby just had a lot of other punches that I think overshot it. The Denzel, you can't see past Denzel thing. It worked for me. I think that Jacoby did a good job of explaining the versatility of Ruffalo in a lot of different genres and in different movies in the same genre. So I went with Jacoby. Mark, your vote does not count. Where would you have gone and why?
It's gonna be one of these days. I went with Cody.
That's fair.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I was definitely leaning Jacoby for the first part of this fight, and then Cody kind of slowly won me over the course of it. Even though like it was kind of like Jacoby was over here kind of yelling out genres, and then Cody's over here just yelling out characters. It was almost kind of like the same thing. Although I feel like whenever he kind of put Jacoby on the spot a little bit and kind of asked him like to kind of name out certain roles he did, and Jacoby threw out like the Adam Project, it was kind of a weird throw out. And then I feel like I feel like whenever Cody started to defend Denzel and kind of how he's not playing Denzel, that was also kind of work of me a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. You guys may not want my vote today. Like I've gone the opposite. This has happened before. I was just getting pick the opposite guy. Like here, I just picked the loser this fight apparently.
That's fair. All right. Well, we are tied up 1-1, and we are going to move on to the next category, which was drafted by Cody. It is the category of Worlds of DC. The question is, which Worlds of DC character had the most wasted potential? We are going to start with Cody. Cody, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
So the most wasted potential is easy for me. It's the Flash. It's the one character we've never seen on screen fully in its own movie, and we got it for a literal studio reset. Flash is such a character that has such an interesting past and such great points of his family and the ability to reverse things that go wrong in his life, to have the effects, the flashpoint that could have led to something cool over an arcing potential of movies, and we just get it as a fan service, just jerk off fest. It just was one of the most disappointing things, wasted potential. It was ruled with controversy for Ezra Miller, but it doesn't matter. They never even introduced him before all the trouble of a great line or a great setup. He was just the dick joke of the MCU. He was there to just do the Drax the Destroyer from Volume 2 and Volume 3 of just making people laugh and goof off, where we could have gotten something really cool and really interesting. Flash is just such a wasted character that we've never seen fully fleshed out on the big screen. And yeah, most wasted potential is him.
Time. Okay. We're going to bring in Jacoby. Jacoby, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
This nostalgic era of superhero films that we are in just kind of sucks. It's so bleak to trot out things we've seen before just for the purpose of fan service without any actual weight. And I think we had one huge chance to fix that. Michael Keaton returning as Bruce Wayne for the DCU had the potential for a really exciting future. The plan was clearly to have Keaton in this DCU full time as the new older Batman, where it was quoted that he would be like the Nick Fury of this universe. We could have seen an older live action Batman in a way we never had before, giving us better adaptations of old Batman stories like Batman Beyond. And we could have had a great link to the past and the future with nostalgia that serves the story in a way that's never been done as efficiently and effectively in superhero films. Keaton's return could have helped course correct the DCU, but nope, they gave him the most stereotypical arc imaginable in The Flash, had him die at the end of the movie, replaced the part where he could have been the new Batman of the DCU with a George Clooney joke, and then completely canceled the Batgirl movie he was also in. He was in a very brief role at the beginning, and then just all his future plans shattered. That's wasted potential.
Time. Okay. 5-minute freeform when one of you starts talking.
I think I started on this one. I think what's interesting is that, like, about the Flash is that we have seen 3 full movies of him, and over these last 5 years, we got the full range of everything we are supposed to get from the Flash character. I mean, all these things that you mentioned, we got his quirky fun side playing off serious heroes. We got him in leading hero status. We got a great use of his powers in Silksket, and we got the emotional crux that we need to see from the Flashpoint story that defines the Flash character. That's not wasted potential, whereas Keaton's comeback was nothing more than that nostalgia bait that teased something else, and then it fell apart.
Oh my gosh. So no, it's really interesting. We didn't get that in 2 fresh out movies. We got him as just points in movies, but never actually a character. We never got his backstory. And when we did get his backstory, it was a rushed backstory. In yours, using that as a counterpoint, that's really interesting because we already got your Batman twice. And yours is just going off a bunch of plans that were in the future, which were nixed when Flashpoint happened. So nothing was going to come of it. You got the best potential of what Michael Keaton's Batman would have been in this movie. He's won the best part of this movie. He's one to come do that. And everybody that wants to see him in the future, he's not that Beyond. He's not that that angry Batman that could do it. He wouldn't be that character. He's the let's get nuts. Let's do the lines. Let's roll him out. Let's get him out there one more time and put him into the world. No, they were doing the reset. Flash had a whole wasted potential because we never got to see the actual Flash character. We just needed WB to hit the reset so we can start fresh.
I just don't understand why we never got to see the Flash character when he's been around since like 2014 of these things. And we've seen him in every single part imaginable. We got him in the team where he's interacting, being his funny self with everybody around him. We got him in more serious dramatic roles. We got the Flashpoint story on screen, which is, despite the movie being awful, the emotional crux of the Flash character is very important. And that's the only thing that kind of works in that movie. You're talking about Keaton. It's like, oh, we already had him in the past, but yeah, we could have had him in the future. That's the point of wasted potential. They cut him off at the knees before we got to see something actual satisfying with him. He's saying he can't do the Batman Beyond because he's not as Gribble, but give him the chance to do that. Let us see if he can, because he could be able to do that, because he could be able to fix what was going to happen. And they didn't give him that chance because it gave him the worst arc imaginable in that movie. Whereas Flash, we've already gotten the full round for so long.
You literally opened with where this nostalgia thing is getting older. Yeah, give it to a different character. We don't need the same Batman that came back in the 2 movies prior to say the same Batman. So you're just doing the whole nostalgia thing. You're saying that we got Barry Allen. No, we didn't. We got him. He was a part of the team. He showed up. You're not wrong. But they used the one movie that he got to be a complete joke, eating a bunch of food, joking around, goofing off. Let's do 2 Ezra Millers. Let's force the Flashpoint, which this is the one character that could have continued into we never even got a real villain from him. Like, we didn't get anything to truly match with him. We didn't even get him contemplating the time. the going back in time and doing this. He just, you know what? Today's the day. I'm going back. I partnered with all these people. I know who it is. I'm just going to jump back in time. We didn't get any actual character arc with Barry Allen. We just used him as the network reset, which is not a fair thing. Batman is the best part of the Flash. The fleshed out potential of an old Batman was what we got, and it worked out perfectly. He went out on his own merit. He does not need to put the cowl on anymore.
Yes, but don't you want to see, because he's the best part of that movie. He's coming back and he's excited for that. You're saying like, oh, because it's the nostalgia thing that come before. I'm saying nostalgia sucks now. And the fact that they were going to bring back a character who is so beloved before, who is still at the top of his game, Michael Keaton, and use him as a crux to fix everything going forward, and then not doing that, that's wasted potential, because nostalgia does suck. And this was a chance to do something different for that, to fix that, to do it done in an effective, story-driven way that we have not seen before. And that's why it's wasted potential. You said like, oh, we only got Flash because he's joking around, because he's so funny. The Flash is a funny character. We got what we needed to the Flash. We got Barry Allen playing two versions of himself. That's part of the Flashpoint, era as well, basing him off of himself. We see his powers, we see his skill set, we see everything that we need to see from the Flash. We got it. We got the full arc. It's not wasted potential.
That's a wild
started something and didn't get to go forward.
That's just a wild thing, because we never got a fleshed out character. We just know he can run really fast, and his dad could have killed his mom, and then that gets retconned right at the end of the movie, instead of leading to this thing and him contemplating what's going on and whether he uses his powers. He gives 0 Fs in this movie to do what he's not supposed to do. No one tells him he shouldn't. No one battles with him. No one argues with him. He just starts to run, and we're just going to go back in time and do it. There should have been some character development with that character, him learning his powers, getting going, maybe fighting an actual person. We get none of that. Your character is nostalgia that comes back, does his quippy lines, and you're just wanting him in other movies because you want Michael Keaton.
All right. Jacoby, you get to close first. You have 1 minute when you start talking.
Cody is saying the Flash had wasted potential because the use of the character wasn't right, but I'm saying we got everything we needed from the Flash character, with his roles and everything, from big teams to him solo, to his humor, to his powers, to the depths of the emotion that comes with Flashpoint. He said Flash never fought a villain. The Flash's greatest enemy is himself and his ability to change time, and we got that story in Flashpoint. Even though the movie kind of sucks, the Flash stuff works, and even though it may not have been successful, I don't think it was ever the Flash's fault for everything. My definition of wasted potential is having the opportunity to bring back a beloved character 30 years later, not just for fan service, but to fix a few things in a struggling superhero universe and give us more exciting stories with this character in a truly feasible way. It was right there. The opportunity was there, but Keaton's one return was wasted. His character arc was the stereotypical washed up old hero who gets remotivated, then he dies. That's it. Keaton just became more of the standard nostalgia baited sludge that Cody is arguing against that we've seen before. He had the chance to do more. That's wasted potential.
Time. Okay. We're going to move over to Cody. Cody, you have 1 minute to close when you start talking.
Jacoby wants you to believe that all the movies that the Flash was in prior were successful. They weren't. They were fucking flops. They were bad movies. They did not waste his potential. They just used it because they needed a guy to run fast. There wasn't fleshed out. He didn't have a character arc. We learned about truly his family and everything in that Flashpoint movie, which should have been the end of his arc, or he should have carried on into more movies to be the one character that continues the DC universe. He just is mad that we didn't get the guy from in the 80s and 90s Batman to be the 80s and 90s Batman again, and to say the quips and be the old guy and do the same thing that he would get to be in this one. You're wanting the character just because you didn't get enough of that character. There's no wasted potential. He's the best part of the Flash. He's interesting. He does his little lines. It's fun to see, but no one needs to see him put the cowl on, because we don't need a wasted potential, because he's been Batman. We got to see him. We never got to see the Flash fully thrown out. We never gotten any mentorship. We never got him to battle with his abilities to run back.
Okay. We are going to bring in the judges. Really hope Ellie falls back asleep. Okay. I'm ready. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
All right,
Can I
Mark.
really quick? I apologize. I just want to be sure. Did I mess up the order of because going after Cody? Did I do that? I forgot if I did that. If I did, I apologize.
What are you talking about?
Like talking, choose like one person opens, then one person goes, and then the
There's
argument
not an
starts.
official rule for that.
There's
I know
not
it's
an
not
official rule. Anybody can talk.
Okay, I just
It's not an official rule.
Okay.
Okay, so Mark, I believe you are going first.
Goody. All right. I don't know if you guys want to see your name on this board. It hasn't been a good way to go so far, but I did go with Cody for this one. I kind of bought the crux of his argument of, even though like we've seen the Flash in several things, not a ton of it has been good, and he could have kind of been a jumping off point for kind of newer stuff, and they just kind of, and it like the stuff that we got from him is just kind of weird and just kind of failed on its own. And I have to be a little honest. I'm not entirely sure. I'm also not entirely certain what Jacoby's argument was, because he was making a lot of anti nostalgia argument, but most of what he was saying, he wanted to see Michael Keaton kind of come back and be old Michael Keaton Batman. Like I wasn't 100% sure what points he was making on that one. So I kind of, with those two things together, I went with Cody.
Okay, Kirk, where are you going?
Okay, Mark, you're in the clear because I also went with Cody.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I agree with Mark. I think Jacoby shot himself in the foot where he opened up talking about how bad nostalgia is, but then his whole argument is how nostalgia is going to fix the DCEU, even though it's going to be better nostalgia, it's still nostalgia. And I think Cody caught on that and took advantage of that. Also, I think in Cody's entire argument, he said something I really appreciate. It sped by. It really didn't spend much time on it. But the fact that he mentioned that we didn't get any Flash villains, and Flash has one of the best rogues galleries in comics. I think he has one of the best relationships with his rogues gallery, and that's one of the most interesting things about him. The fact that we didn't get to see those villains except for the garbage Captain Boomerang and Suicide Squad, I think is a really good point that I didn't think of, and that I really appreciate he made.
All right. Well, it's the first clean sweep because I also went with Cody. Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything you guys said. I don't think Jacoby did a bad job by any means, but I definitely do agree with what Mark said, that his argument was kind of confusing, and that Kirk said like he shot himself in the foot a little bit. And I think both were playing kind of like a different version of the wasted potential. Like they were defining it to themselves in a different type of way, and I just aligned more with the way that Cody was throwing it out there of like, we've seen the Flash in multiple things, but none of it has been good, and the way that they've done it wasted the potential of a great character. So I do go with Cody on that one. So it is a clean sweep. Cody's up 2-1. So we are going to move on to the next question. This was drafted by Jacoby in the category of creature features, and the question is, what is the coolest creature design in a creature features movie? Jacoby, you're kicking this off. You have 1 minute when you start talking.
I think Koba from Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is the coolest design in a creature features movie. I mean, this is a franchise that started with dudes in monkey costumes running around, and we get to see that evolve over the years until we see this peak monkey design in Koba. There is so much depth and complexity to this design, and I think it's so cool that we can make a monkey look like this. He's ugly, mean looking and scarred, but the meanings kind of behind the ugliness and scars add so much depth to this movie and this franchise. I mean, like, he's just awesomely gruesome to look at, but it's also just like a really cool character design for a villain that you want from like a monkey movie. His design means so much more, which I think is a cool factor. Like, it reflects his relationship with humans and with Caesar, and it really represents like the epitome of this whole franchise, which is that humans and apes can never truly get along, and all that is done with Koba's design. And I think that's a cool element to be able to do. You want different looking monkeys in a Planet of the Apes film, and Koba is clearly the coolest design monkey out of the whole franchise and of the creature features genre. His perfect counterpoint to Caesar, while letting us know everything about his character with his design, is really cool.
Is really cool. Strike it from the record. We're going to bring up Cody. Cody, you have 1 minute when you start talking. You're muted.
That's so I don't say anything bad. Okay. So I believe what Claire says in Jurassic World is true. People get bored with the same dinosaurs. And I think that's very true in Jurassic World. Now, the thought would be to bring the Indominus Rex, but that looks really stupid. So what I did was pick the Monosaurus, basically the swimming dinosaur. One, up to that point, we never got to see a swimming dinosaur like that before. And two, for the little that they're able to use it in that movie, brings the peak in the coolness factor of it to a whole new level. The way it leaps out of the water, the way that you forget about it in existence. And even when it shows up in like Fallen Kingdom, that trash pile of movie, it opens with him swimming in the water, and you have that feel like, oh shit, this thing. You expect the traditional dinosaurs to take out the characters, but no, the Monosaurus is actually the true MVP of that movie. Takes out the Indominus Rex, takes out the nanny of the boys flying over the thing. You get to see it swim. It's an absolute massive creature that I think was cool on the screen.
Time. Okay. So 5-minute freeform when one of you starts talking.
So you got scarred up Caesar, and it's cool. I think it's interesting. I think best villain in creature features, I will give you without a doubt. I think it's the best character in that design. Design wise, yes, it has scars. It has a messed up face. I don't make that cool. I don't make that interesting. I just mean what Koba does makes it interesting. The design of the character is no different really than rest of the apes besides the scarred face. That's it. And I don't think that makes it cool enough to pass.
No, I just think because there's so much depth and perception like in his look and in his design, with the scars over the eyes, the permanent scowl, the beat up and tethered weather, just the look that he has about how much he hates humans that you can see through the design, that from the villain perspective, that's what makes that such a cool design. You did a very interesting thing, which I thought it's like your mistake. You named a lot of cool moments that the Mosasaurus was involved in. And if it was cool moments, yours would win as well. You said that like he eats the shark, he eats the T-Rex, but it's also the lamest looking dinosaur for a question about a character's design. I think yours looks like a fatter alligator, or it looks like a wet turd with like flippers. It is just one log with like teeth. There is nothing to the design of your creature feature, and doesn't add anything to the character itself, and it makes it kind of bland looking. It has cool moments. It doesn't look cool itself. In the movie that you said, we're like, hey, the Indominus Rex was designed to look cool. The Mosasaurus is just a big, like alligator or whale that doesn't do anything. While Koba's cool design is so in-depth, and it's so cool what we've done with that, with this franchise, and evolved over time, that we can make monkeys look like that. That's cool.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you're fat shaming alligator. It's not a big deal. I won't. You can live that life. I won't. But my thing is, I think it's a very cool design. I think how massive this creature is, and with the design of a giant alligator, regardless. I think Lake Placid is one of those examples of a really large gator that just is interesting. So what their design was, that it can swim really fast, and how it's designed to be this creature in the water that people forget about after it being so massive, but it can sneak up on its prey. I think that's very interesting of a design for that character. Yours has mutilated scars, which makes it cool because of the backstory of the character, but that doesn't go into the design. Like, the design of the character is what we get to see without any of the backstory. So you just have a scarred up monkey versus a fat alligator. I'll take a fat alligator any day of the week.
You also just went ahead and named more things that the Mosasaurus can do instead of like it can move really quickly in the water. It's not the design of how it looks. Well, I'm talking about how Koba's actual look of how he's designed, that he is a scarred monkey, and how it provides so much depth and backstory to the movie itself, to the character itself, how we can tell everything about this character through its design, through the fact that we can make a monkey look like this after 50 years. That's so cool looking. The fact that you want a villain to look like that with half that much, as much evil swag as Koba has, and that's what it is. Well, the Mosasaurus, you're right. You forget about it in the movie. That's what happens. He's gone for most of the movie. I'm not thinking about, man, that was a cool dinosaur. I'm thinking about the Indominus Rex in that. Well, Koba does not leave your mind through the entire movie because of how he looks, and that's really cool, and because he is cool looking.
Well done. You don't forget about Koba because he's in the entire movie. You're right. But I did describe exactly what the design of my character is interesting. It literally is not just a gator. No legs, nothing, but can swim fast, giant mouth, leaping ability of insane ability is all in the design of that character. That character can literally, if it didn't design that way, it couldn't move that way. So I don't know what your argument is. But the scarred up thing is, when you see that monkey from afar, be like, man, humans did a number on that. No one thinks that. It's just a pissed off monkey, basically. Got into a little too many fights, ran its mouth a little bit too much. Multiple things could have happened with Koba, but nothing's really different between him and Caesar besides the scarred up face, and I don't make that cool enough to interest me. My character, yes, less is more, but the more that we get of it is a sweet design when that thing leaps out of the water and takes it down. That's something cool that you get to see. You don't get that in Koba by look alone. His actions and his words in that movie drive the force of Koba, not the design.
The hatred that you can get from Koba just by how he looks, by everything that he has, drives that character forward instead of just jumping out of the water. If you want moments where Koba is doing something with his cool design, it's the fact that humans underestimate him because he looks so ugly, and then he mows them all down. And that all relates back to how his design is so cool, if you want to have that argument. But I'm not. I'm basing it off of the fact of how cool our characters actually look. Yours is like a slug that can swim. It has little tiny flippers. Its mouth is way too big. While the fact where every Koba's scars and hurts and pain and suffering behind his eyes in a CGI monkey is just a really cool thing that we can do with movies and do with monkeys.
The
and
amount
do
of
everything.
death that mouth creates in mine is cool enough.
All right, Cody, we are going to start with you. You have 1 minute to close your argument when you start talking.
Koba having a scarred up face to give this giant backstory that we never got to see before is just not true. Yes, there's multiple reasons why he could have a scarred up face. He could have also, that doesn't make that character cool. His character is cool by what he does in that movie. He is a cool villain. His creature design is nowhere different than anywhere else because he's got a fucked up face. Who cares? Monosaurus swimming through the water, being this honestly stealth-like creature by his design, that he can just leap out of places and people forget about him. When you think the T-Rex is going to take out the Monosaurus, it's actually the Monosaurus. That's crazy. That's something that you're interested to see. And every time it shows up, when it leaps out of that water the first time and takes the great white, the size comparison is just a sweet design because we never got to see an actual swimming monster. And for it to be used so limitless, but also the T-Rex is in that once. It's awesome. Mine is awesome for that reason.
Time. Okay. We're going to move over to Jacoby. Jacoby, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
You see the Mosasaurus eat the shark and you go like, oh, that's a cool moment. I mean, you look at Koba's face and design and you go like, that's a cool monkey. I think cool is so hard to define as we're arguing this, but I think when you see it, you know it. Koba's design as a villain and as a monkey is cool. It's detailed, it's layered, and tells the story so much more than any line of dialogue ever could. Cody is right when there's not a lot of backstories of Koba, but you don't need that in dialogue because you know his backstory because of how he looks. You know how much he hates humans because of what's humans done to him. It's so cool that we can have this in this franchise that started with monkey costumes, that we can evolve so much, that we can have so much depth and perception and everything in the face of these villains. I mean, yes, Koba is ugly and scarred and beat up, but that creates such a cool design that fits perfectly for the villain of the story. The Mosasaurus, which I said, just the design itself, not its movements, are pretty lame because there's nothing to the design because we can't really see it. It's like a fallen tree log with flippers. It has teeth, but it's not as cool as it should be. And we know they can make cool dinosaurs because they did it with all the other ones. The Mosasaurus does cool things, but it's not cool.
Whoa, does cool things, but is not cool. Strike it from the record. My God. Who do you think you are?
I got does cool things in there.
Oh, I don't know about that. All right. All right, I'm ready. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Thought this was kind of weak. I think that both players said that their opponent was doing something and then did it themselves. It was pretty weak. Which I mean, comparatively to weak fights and other fights, it was still very entertaining. But I did think the arguments on both sides were a little rough, so I had to cling onto something. I get where so I think on paper Cody's is the obvious choice based on the two, but Jacoby did a very good job of kind of explaining Koba. Like, let me rephrase. I think Jacoby gave a perception that Koba's design was cooler based on things outside of the design. If you're just looking at the design, being like Cody was right. It's a monkey with scars, and Jacoby was adding backstory to that, which he's not wrong. It's true, but it doesn't really affect whether the design is cool or not. And I laughed a lot at Jacoby's takedowns of the Mosasaurus, just being like, it's a poop log with flippers. that made me laugh a lot. But I did go with Cody. And I just think that Cody's like, I agreed with Jacoby that Cody did fall into the trap of just saying a lot of things that the creature does, but he kind of backpedaled a little bit by the end in order to say that it's because of the design that he can do these things, and he did actually talk about the actual design by the end there. So this was kind of, like I said, a little rough for me, but I gave it to Cody with the edge. Mark, what's going on with you? What are you picking?
I think I will agree with you. Maybe I'm not sure this question is asked. I'm not sure if these two creatures get picked in another match. I kind of had to cling on to attacks more than anything, and I think the one thing that I really couldn't shake that much, even though I think one I'll just say it, like I gave it to Cody. Like, I feel like Cody really could have put this one away more convincingly for me, because like Jacoby kind of brought up like kind of the scowl and kind of look of that one and kind of look of Koba, although he never really brought up the mocap angle, which I think he easily could have done it if he had it. It would have been really easy decision for me. But I think all in all, like the overall argument of Koba just kind of looks like another monkey. Like, there's not, other than the scars, it really isn't that much different. And even though, yes, like the scars are kind of a neat character trait for him and kind of give us a lot of backstory on him, I'm just not sure that equates to like him being the coolest looking. And I think Cody did a good job driving at least that point home. And I gave the point to Cody, at least for that reason.
All right, Kirk, your vote doesn't count. Where would you have gone and why?
Yeah, I agree with you, Tim. Superlative questions can be tough, and I think something happened here. I think like 10, 15 seconds into the argument, both of them realized that, oh shoot, maybe I didn't think enough about coolest, and they both started like course correct really fast, trying to make arguments for why their picks were the coolest. And I do think Cody did a little bit better job. I think when Jacoby started hammering Cody with, oh, he looks just like he's a log, he's a fat alligator, all this stuff, I think Cody made enough arguments where, how the design works into the coolness of the creature itself, where Jacoby continued to lean on backstory and character and things like that, and where he didn't focus as much on the design as Cody did.
All right. Well, that means Cody wins the point. It is now 3-1, which means that Jacoby does need to hit this next question in order to send it to the bonus. So we are going to move on to that question. It's in the category of sports. This was drafted by Cody. The question is, what is the most inspiring scene in a baseball movie? So Cody, we're kicking this off with you. You have 1 minute when you start talking.
Inspiration is really hard to like put into a movie because something Jacoby is inspired by could not inspire me, and then vice versa. But what I picked was Roy Hobbs' final home run in The Natural. But I think it resonates with so many people. Roy Hobbs is down on his luck, doing the one thing that he loved, hard life, too old to continue, shouldn't be out there doing what he's doing. And to hit that home run and to inspire kids and players and coaches that even on your worst day and everything's going wrong, or when your life has kind of passed you by, you can still do impossible things and still inspire multiple people, prove people wrong, prove your doubters wrong. And with that home run, he solidifies this. This is a man that's been shot, has to come back, lost his father at an age, is way too old to be playing baseball at the time he is playing. Looked down on by players and by coaches and ownership, and like shouldn't be there. And for him to hit that home run and inspire everybody is
time. I still haven't seen this movie, but is this the moment where he fucks Glenn Close that Brandon Cohen was talking about? Like he hits the home run.
No, this is the one when the lights go. Oh, I shouldn't be saying that, but yeah.
But okay, I wanted to ask anyway. Jacoby, you get to go now. You have 1 minute when you start.
Have you seen my movie? Okay, hopefully. When I think of the most inspiring scene in a baseball movie, it's got to be the "People Will Come" speech from Field of Dreams. Yes, on the surface, it's about how freaking great baseball is. And even for like a non-baseball fan like myself, I'm inspired by all the good baseball can do for people. That's what kind of makes it inspirational. I believe it when James Earl Jones says that baseball has been America's constant through the years, and it reminds us of all that was once good and it could be again. It inspires us to do better. But on a whole other level, I think the speech is inspiring because really at its core, it's about following your dreams. It's about digging in when faced with like these insurmountable odds and still going through with the toughest choices imaginable because you know in your heart that it's the right choice. I think my scene is a little schmaltzy, but it fits within the context of the movie beautifully, and it's given and it's delivered by one of the greatest voices of all time in James Earl Jones. It's absolutely the most inspiring scene in a baseball movie. People will come, Ray, is what the character says, and like the way he says it and everything around it makes it inspirational.
Makes what I didn't hear what he said anyway, but strike it from the record. 1 minute, 5 minute freeform, and one of you starts talking.
I have seen your movie. I think Roy Hobbs is kind of a dick. And I think what you're seeing actually inspires us to do. It inspires dirtbag absentee fathers to stop chasing younger women who try to murder you and rather be a father to your kid. And it inspires women to stay with dirtbag egotistical baseball players who would rather risk their own lives by playing a game to prove they're awesome rather than being a father to your kid. Your scene is so awful and not inspirational at all. The only thing, it's just the essence around it that makes it cool with Robert Redford and the lights.
Time out. Yeah. Sorry. Inspiring scene. This is not about the characters prior anything. This is in the moment, in the scene, solidified from the rest of the movie. This is it. Roy Hobbs is, I'm sorry that you just don't believe in trauma. This man lost his father to a heart attack, got shot, and had to recover back and hits that home run and inspires the fan bases and everybody watching that home run that you can do that. I'm not saying he's a great guy. A lot of sports athletes aren't. But at the end of the day, in that moment, he rose above an occasion that he should have failed at, and he was able to do it. That's what inspiration is all about. Your scene inspires one person, Kevin Costner, to be able to make more money, to be able to play catch at the end of the movie. As a baseball fan, I love that scene because I love to talk about baseball. The only thing he inspires him to do is not to sign away his farm. That's all the inspiration from that scene does. I'm sorry, that's not the most inspirational, but that's the most inspirational to Kevin Costner, and that's good for you, but it's not for me. It doesn't.
You're not reading into the. It's like weird that you're reading into the context of your screen, but like completely ignoring mine. Like the fact that the essence of your scene is rotten, that the character chooses ego over it, and your character chooses ego over like actual like good stuff because he chooses to play a game that will kill him rather than be the father to his child, and that at its core of it does not make it inspirational. What does that inspire us to do? That I would rather go play baseball than be a father to my kid? That's wrong. The fact that it inspires one person in Kevin Costner in Field of Dreams, of course it does. That's the main character of the movie. And you know who else it inspires? Me, the audience, because it inspires us to do more, because it teaches us more, because inspirational scenes need to do more than hitting the baseball. But that's why Field of Dreams' scene is so great, because it inspires you to love baseball and why baseball is so great. And it inspires you to keep going to follow your dreams with an actual good motivation, because while your inspiration is based off ego, mine is based on faith. And that is what the point of the movie is. And that's what makes my scene more inspirational overall.
Okay. I'm not saying that my guy's a modeled father and it wasn't best father in a baseball movie. I would not pick Roy Hobbs. You're correct. I'm picking most inspirational. A guy that has been beaten down. His life has not gone the way he wants to. He has not been the model citizen. He's been put in a situation to try to basically fail, and he succeeds, inspires people to do things that they're maybe not meant to do, including like even the home audience that be like, holy shit, that guy should have had no shot at doing that. And he doesn't. It's something inspiring. Inspiration can come from anybody, and I'm not saying he's a role model. You're seeing people will come, inspires people to watch baseball, I guess, but overall, it only does Kevin Costner's thing to get people to help him build up the money so he doesn't have to sell his farm, so he's not back on money. That's fine. I'm just saying, everybody in that crowd, as soon as that home run is hit, everybody's face, everybody's reaction, oh my God, they're inspired. They're inspired from what he's doing. He shouldn't be able to do what he did, and he did, and he crushes the life. It's a beautiful moment inside of baseball.
Your argument is that the characters watching in the movie are in fact are what being inspired from it. But my argument is like us watching it, the audience who it's supposed to be inspiring for, is what makes Field of Dreams so inspiring. It's not just about baseball, which is what you're saying Field of Dreams is. No, Field of Dreams is that he has had a pivotal moment in his life where everybody is telling him that he should quit. He needs to sell. He needs to do this. But he knows, because he has faith in his heart, that what he's doing is best for his family and best for everything around him and best for himself. And that's what it inspires you to do. That when you have this world weighing down on you, that you need to keep going in order to find this inner peace and the faith that you have. Well, as Roy Hobbs, it inspires you to be like, yeah, you know what? It's like, I need to prove that I am the best at what I do. It is not an inspirational scene. No, but at the cost of your family. You say like it inspires Glenn Close. It inspires her to what? Love the guy who was a dick to her the whole time?
She's happy at the end of the movie.
And that's a wrong choice. That's a wrong choice for an inspirational scene, because it inspires you to strive for the wrong things, while Field of Dreams inspires you to have faith in the right things, and that's what's important.
You're arguing that your character gets inspiration. Actual baseball's on a decline, so it didn't inspire anybody in baseball from the audience perspective, because even his talk up, it is still in decline. Your scene is only to inspire Kevin Costner to be a capitalist and to be able to monitor his field to get more money so he doesn't have to sell. My guy inspires everybody. You're mad that Glenn Close chose him, but he ended up choosing him.
All right. Jacoby, you get to close first. You have 1 minute when you start talking.
The Natural doesn't inspire me to want to play baseball. It doesn't make me appreciate baseball. And it doesn't inspire me in any way beyond baseball that extends to my everyday life. It's about a guy who would rather play a game that might kill him to prove that he could do it, rather than making a more inspirational choice of maybe walking away and being a father to his kid. The people will come speech inspires me to be better. Yes, it's like a speech rather than a moment, but it's delivered by just like one of the greatest voices of all time. And it not only inspires me to want to play baseball, a non-baseball fan, and makes me believe in the power of how good baseball can be, but it inspires me in everyday life. You know, we all struggle with all these leaps of faith sometimes, and we question our decisions, but this moment itself inspires us to not give up on our faith when we know in our heart something is right, which is something Kevin Costner has to do in the movie. You have to remain strong and walk our own path amidst the naysayers, because it's going to benefit you and your whole family. He's not a capitalist. He's doing it for the faith of his child. That's where our scenes are both kind of similar and different, where The Natural is more inspiration about ego. Mine is about the inspiration of faith and belief and perseverance, and it makes mine more inspirational.
More inspirational. Strike it from the record. Jacoby, liking to talk over tonight. All right.
Nope.
Do I not get a closing?
Oh, I'm stupid. What am I doing? Sorry, guys.
He already made his decision. Clear as day. Thanks.
No. I just am dumb. Go ahead, Cody. Sorry. You get 1 minute when you start talking.
Kevin Costner's character in Field of Dreams is facing financial collapse of things for baseball players that no one else can see but him. But his character inspires him to keep going, to hopefully make enough money to sell the thing. So that's inspiring, but it also puts his family at jeopardy. My character is a beaten down, awful human being, but at the end of his life, shouldn't be playing what he's doing, could have killed him, and is able to hit the home run to win the game, to inspire fan bases and people that you can do stuff past the point that people tell you shouldn't be able to do. That's inspiration. It doesn't matter that you're trying to put father figures and all this stuff. It's a scene. It's directly seen. And this inspires people to push past the naysayers that tell you can't do anything, that you can do it, that you can achieve more than you want, that Father Time does not have to win every battle. You have a choice, and he's able to do this in the character and hit that home run, inspire millions of fans to love the game, millions of fans to love and push past moments.
Time. That's how you stop on time. Okay, so
I think there's a lag. That's why I
oh yeah. Yeah, sure. I'm going to write down my answer first, then I'm going to say something. So when I brought everyone in on accident, I was looking down at Cody during the end of Jacoby's argument, and he was sitting like this, and I just like clicked on him like, let's go. Oh, it was funny. Anyway, I'm ready. Are you guys ready?
Give me 1 second.
Me too.
Ooh. Ellie fell back asleep, in case anyone was wondering.
I'm ready.
Okay.
All right, and I believe Kirk is starting on this one.
Yeah. I think you both missed an opportunity because this would have worked for either of your arguments. If either of you would have just done John Mulaney's Oscar Field of Dreams bit as your closing, I automatically would have given you the point. So you missed your shot there. I think this goes back to the first fight where this was another, in my mind anyway, there was one answer that was the very obvious answer, and it was Cody's. But I think it went the same way. I think Jacoby had to do more work, and it showed. I went with Jacoby. I think that he, where, again, I don't know. I haven't seen any of these movies in a long time. I don't have enough detail in my memory as far as the characters go. Jacoby says he's a bad guy. He kind of led Cody into the weeds there. Where Cody was just he hits a home run, everybody's inspired, and Jacoby just kept hitting a lot of beats of what it is about his scene that inspired him, inspires people. Again, I don't think Cody did a bad job. I think it was another very close fight, but I think Jacoby just gave me a little bit more on the inspiration.
Yeah, I thought this was great, especially coming off of the last one. You could definitely tell Jacoby's feet were to the fire, and he came to play on it on a category that isn't his own. And Cody's obviously very knowledgeable on the subject of baseball and these movies, and which is why he picked it. Me, on the other hand, I like baseball. I am not knowledgeable on these movies. I have seen Field of Dreams. It's been many, many years, so I couldn't tell you shit about it. I couldn't tell you anything about The Natural. So I did think it was close. Something that I thought was interesting was multiple times in the fight, Cody mentioned we're not talking about the rest of the movie, we're talking about this scene, but then continued to bring up things about his character that should be ignored to the benefit of his scene. So I thought that was a little weird. It didn't wasn't the end all be all to me, but he did it 3 different times. I thought it was just a little off, and it didn't work for me at all. I went with Jacoby. I do think that Jacoby's overall inspiration of like his scene inspiring not only for baseball but also just as people, for people to do things that worked for me. I think it was close. I think taking both scenes just on their own, taking the context of the movies out of it that both of them brought up, I think it still worked on both ends, but I thought Jacoby had the added benefit, some extra hits on the other side. So I went with Jacoby. Mark, your vote doesn't count. Is this another situation where, yeah, you voted for Cody, didn't you?
I mean,
Why'd you do it, Mark?
Yeah. I feel like with Cody, at least with pitching, at least for me, I think at least worked for me a little bit. I feel like at least Cody's pitching kind of a more classical, like inspirational sports, like or classical inspirational scene like we've seen from a sports story. I think that's what hit me. I was really close with going with Jacoby, at least in that last one, just because his closing like nearly got me on that one. It just I feel like at least for at least the inspiration just in general, I feel like Cody outlined it a little bit better, but I guess we're getting a bonus question anyway.
Yes, we are. We are moving on to the bonus round. Here's how this is going to work. Because we are playing to the first to 4, we have 2 bonus questions prepped, one in Melee, one in Fandom. Jacoby does need to hit both of these in order to win it. Cody only needs to hit one of them because the score is 3-2 in favor of Cody. So how it's going to work is I'm going to say what side of Fanzone the question is coming from, then give you the category, then give you the question. I am then going to repeat the question. Once I have repeated the question, you can give me your answer. Whoever has their answer first will be going first in the debate. Each player will get 45 seconds, followed by 30 seconds for a rebuttal. So any questions from the players? No. Okay. So I randomized which side of Fanzone would be coming first. The first one is from the Melee side of things. The category was biopics.
Oh, fuck.
And the question is, what is the best casting of a lead character in a biopic?
Denzel Washington, Malcolm X.
Best casting of a lead character in a biopic.
Oh, Denzel Washington.
Yeah, you're locked in, though. You're good.
I'm going to go with Philip Seymour Hoffman and Capote.
Okay. So Denzel Washington, Malcolm X, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Capote. I'm going to stay on screen for this, guys, to give you your countdowns. Cody, you're going to be going first because you answered first. So, Cody, you have 45 seconds on the clock when you start talking.
Denzel Washington was beyond the right casting choice for Malcolm X to take a civil rights leader to have both ranges of his character shown out within a 4-hour movie that he's able to carry by iconic speeches, but also show the home life and the actual life that he lived beyond being that leader and the struggles that he had to face with different members of that society back then. He's able to just do a complex delivery of those iconic speeches of Malcolm X. And there's no character that's ever been able to play Malcolm X, even close to him. And it's transcended his career after that. He has such a... he's between 2 different sides of Malcolm X, which is such a complex version of that. Capote does a weird voice and is kind of mad in that movie.
In that movie, strike it from the record. Jacoby, 45 seconds.
We're at the same part where we started out in the first thing. Denzel Washington is Denzel Washington, who is great in it, but he doesn't transform into Malcolm X. That point doesn't work in this element. While why I chose Truman Capote and Philip Seymour Hoffman, the role that he plays here, is because Philip Seymour Hoffman is one of the most gifted actors we have ever seen, and to see him do such a transformative role into this incredibly complex character that if boiled down to just a silly voice is totally negating the effect of the entire movie, which is such an interesting case study of who this man was as a person and the impact that he had on writing and every skill that he had, and it's brought to life by a powerhouse Academy Award winning performance by Philip Seymour Hoffman, who played against type to deliver a type of performance that was everything. So it's the best casting of a character who was ever do it, because it took a great actor who was able to do something so great.
Cody, 30 seconds.
If we're saying just because Denzel Washington's black so he can play Malcolm X is a complete discrediting of who the character really is. He doesn't even sound anything like Denzel in the role. He's taking a character and actually writing, making it come to life. A character that was so misunderstood in the media, and he's able to deliver it across the thing. Capote, you lose so much interest in the character because he is doing too much of the Capote accent. He's a good actor. He's done better roles, but overall, the writer and who Capote is, you lose throughout that performance because he doesn't hit it. He's one note.
Time. Jacoby, 30 seconds.
For best casting of a lead character, you need an actor who is going to completely transform into the role himself and embody the character and not let his larger-than-life persona overtake anything that's happening here. And that's what Denzel Washington does. I'm sorry that I see Denzel again in everything in these movies. While I see Philip Hoffman do something completely against type in this movie to deliver us one of his most complex characters that he has ever done in the history of his very long career. And it makes the character better. It makes us understand this character in a way that we would never see before because he is such an unknown guy throughout history and so important.
Throughout history, so important. Strike it from the record. Okay. Fuck. What did I do with my board? Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Should we go back to the way it was where, we just had like one person judging? I know we never did that here, but there was once a match where Coho and one other person judged. That didn't go well. Mark, I believe you're kicking this off.
All right. Okay. Let's see. We broke the streak, a couple times. So, let's see if we can do it here. I end up going with Cody. Just never a really good lead up into the board link. I think Tim is. Just blurt it out. I don't know, because in the ways that we did kind of get into a very similar argument that we had before. I feel like at least with this particular question, with Denzel Malcolm X, I'm just not really sure. Like Denzel doing his Denzel thing, I really think held water to me. It just, at least from what I remember, the film just didn't really seem like that was the case. And at least I did kind of buy at least Cody's argument, at least against Philip Seymour Hoffman, at least the whole thing, at least with his performance, like it was a bit distracting at times. So yeah, and I'm going Cody there.
I like how you said old Philip Seymour Hoffman. Kirk, are we moving on, or do we have Cody retaining the belt? Are we moving on to me? I mean,
It's just hard when you have 5 rounds of like deep prepared stuff, and then it comes down to just what they're able to come up with at the end here off the top of their heads. I don't think either of them did a great job. I heard a lot about what the movie did for the character. I didn't hear much about what the casting did specifically for the character or for the movie. I wasn't enthralled with either of their arguments. I didn't buy into Jacoby's it's just Denzel, and I didn't buy into Cody's he just did a voice. I had to pick one, and it was honestly 51-49. I think Jacoby just said a little bit more about the actual casting. Like I said, I don't think it was particularly strong either way. I think Jacoby just focused a little bit more on the casting, which was the question.
I went with Jacoby. I agree with most of what Kirk said. Mark got me all nervous saying that I do a good lead up. Yeah, I agree with Kirk. This was very close. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, like the voice thing didn't do it for me. Jacoby recycling the same thing from the other fight didn't do it for me. But Jacoby was the one that kind of gave me a little bit more on the casting and why the casting specifically of Philip Seymour Hoffman was better than Denzel. So that was a tough one, but I did go with Jacoby, and we're tied up 3-3, which means we're going to the final question of the match. This is in Fandom. The category that was randomized was horror icons. And the question is, what is the best Friday the 13th movie? So again, what is the best Friday the 13th movie?
Friday the 13th, the remake.
Okay.
I think it's either that. I'm gonna go. Jason Lives.
Okay. All right. So I will once again be staying on screen. Cody, you are starting, so you get 45 seconds on the clock when you start talking.
If we're being fair, all the Friday the 13th movies really fucking suck. They're bad. They're just tits for tits. There's no real depths of it. When we get into the remake, we get a side of horror that transcends from the 80s and 90s cheese fest that is Friday the 13th, and we actually get a gruesome, brutal killer as Jason Voorhees. We get to actually see him unleash who he is. He was so strung up or like held down by studios of the MPA, not letting him do the hard R's, not letting him do the horror to the full extent. They wasted more of their stuff on tits than they did on the blood and gore. And that's what you get in this movie. You get a fully fleshed out Jason where he's actually running fast, brutal kills. It's beautiful.
Time. Jacoby, 45 seconds.
I agree with Cody that most of the Friday the 13th movie sucks, and I think there's two exceptions to the rule, which is Cody's, but it's also Jason Lives, which is part of the original franchise. And I think what Jason Lives does for this franchise overall is revitalizes it, reimagines it, does something different with it instead of all the boring stuff that came before. It prevents Jason in both a scary and a funny way, in this kind of this meta humor type of way where we basically reimagine the whole slasher franchise going forward. Scream was inspired by Jason Lives, and that's what makes Jason Lives such a great movie itself, because it knows how to be a little bit funny, but it knows what we want, which is just kind of fun 80s kills, which for that time, for that period, was perfect. Whereas the perfect amount of nudity and fun and blood, but also Jason just slashing fools every which way you got, and it's the best of that franchise, and it shows what the original franchise could be a part of.
Okay, Cody, 30 seconds.
It was still hidden with all the problems that they didn't allow them to go full flesh. They do stupid things like bringing him back from the dead from the lightning bolt, from the kills that are very minor and cut down. They're nothing. And we already had that meta. I don't want meta in Jason. We have that in Friday the 13th, and we have that in Scream. We don't need that in Jason. What we get in the Friday the 13th remake is what the original wishes it was. It was a Jason Voorhees going batshit crazy on a bunch of teens, which what you want in a Friday the 13th. You get this fully fleshed out Jason is exactly what we're wanting in Friday the 13th.
Jacoby, 30 seconds.
I think the remake of Friday the 13th falls in line with all the other 2000s sort of slasher drama, which is like, it's dark, it's gritty, it's dirty. It falls in, it's nothing special. It is all part of this subblock of really just average of movies of itself. Whereas Jason Lives builds up the franchise, because the best Friday the 13th movie is the one that builds up the franchise overall, that inspires all these genres going forward. Jason Lives is silly and it's goofy, but so are all of these horror icons Friday the 13th movies. And Jason Lives actually capitalizes on that to make a really great movie with great kills, with great blood, with humor and boobs and everything you want from it.
Boobs, you say?
Did I hear boo? In the words of John from Ted, dude, that's somebody's daughter. Oh my god. Okay. I'm ready. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Okay. Am I starting? Yes. I went with Cody. I think that Cody nailed it. To be fair, like I think Cody is correct in the sense that the franchise isn't great. I was kind of hoping that someone might pick a Part 4 or a Jason X and make it a little interesting. That's kind of why I wanted this one to go first. But they did pick arguably the best two. But I do think that Cody did a really great job of saying, like, this is the 2009 remake is kind of everything that we always wanted from a Friday the 13th movie encapsulated into one. And I thought he nailed that on the head. And Jacoby's main argument, which I agree with, of like it revitalized the franchise, it inspired a lot. It's goofy, it does have boobs. But I think that Cody's the main argument of like it's still tied down by the fact that it just couldn't get away with a lot of stuff, and it kind of holds back a little bit in some aspects, whereas the 2009 one is just fully fledged, like no holding back, R-rated crazy movie. Worked for me, so I went with Cody. Mark, you're going next.
I think they both made fine arguments. I think Jacoby, I think he's kind of made the main argument. I think a lot of people at least make for Jason Lives, at least a lot of what I hear, that kind of rides that line. And kind of same thing with Cody, like kind of bringing up how, the franchise is garbage. Like, it's not very good. We got like a couple like bright spots in there. And ultimately, I feel like one person just kind of, made the argument that they needed to make for their movie. And I thought that was Cody.
All right, Kirk, your vote doesn't count. Where would you have gone and why?
Yeah, I hadn't seen any of these movies, so I'm like kind of was like panicking how I'm going to judge this, and I just said whoever makes me want to see their movie the most, that's what I want to vote for, and it was Cody.
All right, well, that means your winner, Cody Newberry. We are going to get into post-match interviews. We're going to start by talking to Jacoby. Jacoby, dude, you almost had this one. It was nuts, man. And I'm going to talk to Cody about it, but Cody actually has a history in title matches of kind of like missing out on the first couple questions and then having a huge comeback. And it almost looked like we were going to see something else where, he was really strong up front, but then maybe was going to lose on a couple bonus questions. You played really great in the whole match, but you came to play there at the end in the bonus, especially. It was a really close fight, as close as it possibly can be when it comes to debate scores. So how are you feeling about your performance in the match?
I feel good. It's just, I think I am happy with my performance. I think overall, like, I think there's the one question that I wish I fought better was like the cool design, but that you kind of said it in the thing, which is like, as soon as you say cool design, it's like, how do you argue that for 5 minutes of like what is cool? It's like, oh crap, I don't know how to do that as well. But no, it was fun. I'm glad I think there were some like heated questions. There were some more civil questions. It was a good balance of sort of things. I'm bummed that I lost that last point overall, but honestly, I thought he beat me in the Malcolm X Capote one. So it's like I thought I was done there. So it's just like, so I can't be that upset because I already thought that I was going home. But no, it was a lot of fun. I'm glad I could have made it this far, and I was glad to play Cody again. That it was really exciting, and it was it's been a while. So that was good. So I'm okay.
Jacoby, this does mean that obviously you didn't win the match, so you're not going to be in our upcoming title picture, but we'll try to get you back later this season. I would love to have you back later this season. Take
your time.
We release every other week. It'll be a while, but you will be back this season at some point. You've played a lot of different types of people now at this point. You've played, Cody, you've played, I believe you've played Rue. You've played Kirk. Is there anybody that you want to go up against that like you have maybe a Brian Michaels or someone like that? Who do you want in
Brian
the next
Michaels debating?
He's back. Yeah, he's in the next title picture.
I would love to debate Brian just because I've never, I have. Yeah, I've never debated Brian. I would love to see his debate style, like how he kind of argues these sort of questions. Because I feel like the people, my main enemies, obviously Kirk and Cody, they have a very distinct kind of just, we're very passionate people, right? Before when we argue, but it's like I don't know how Brian argues in terms of his just how his style. If he gets as heated or for everything. So I think that'd be fun. I like debating new people, even though now I want to beat Cody, I want to beat Kirk. I gotta do a lot. So, but yeah. I don't think I answered the question very well. I did.
No, you absolutely did. Yeah, it's a boring question that I ask every time. So I mean, you added more.
That's like, what's your favorite dinosaur or something like just to throw people off like one time.
Ooh, I might do that to Cody. Okay, Jacoby, great job tonight. You really played fantastic. But I know this has been a long one, so I'll get you out of here. We'll see you later, Jacoby. But we're gonna bring in the winner and still your Fanzone debate champion, Cody Newberry. Cody, you do this thing. Where normally you don't hit the first couple and then you just go on a run. This time you looked so relieved when you hit the first question. You were like, holy shit, it's happening. And then you looked a little pissed as we went on, but you came out with the win, and I think it was in a very dominating way. Like, you've been on record, you say you don't like the speed rounds, but you came out in that last speed round question and made a really great argument. You got all 3 votes on it, a clean sweep. So it was very dominating. And at the end of the day, you did what you needed to do to win the fight. How are you feeling about it overall?
Yeah. So one thing, when Dylan loses in melee or like he's having bad luck in melee, he looks grumpy and he always apologizes. I'm going to apologize for absolutely fucking nothing. I'm competitive and I am confident in my picks. So if I look pissed, I am pissed. It's just who I am. I'm competitive, and I'd rather have somebody care about what's happening than somebody being like, I'd rather not. I didn't want to be in this. I'm surprised I kept winning. No, I wanted to win every fucking argument. And Jacoby, like the first one. So I always go into the match thinking I'm going to lose one. I've said this on record numerous times. The first question I thought was an uphill battle. He picked the most iconic Roland Emmerich scene. When I saw the question, I was like, well, fuck, I don't even get first pick on this. He's going to pick that. I'm fucked. It doesn't matter what I pick. I could have picked the guy taking a shit in the movie. It doesn't matter. He's got the iconic scene. So when I hit it, insane. And then Coolest Creature, I didn't say it. I was gonna say it during the match, but that could affect judging. But I was like, I fucking hate your question, because you're like, this fight was really bad. Well, I was like, I fucking hate this because I don't know how to argue what's cool for 5 minutes. Like, I was in a battle, and he was too. So, and then he's like, you didn't mention any of the cool creatures. So I was like, thank you so much, because I didn't. I just did cool moments. So now here we go. I'm just gonna list shit. So he helped me, but I went to the back when you put us in the back, and I said, holy shit, I lost this. So I've got to like pivot where I'm at. I've got to like change. I've got to like come in hot. And then you all voted, and I was like, what the fuck is happening? So it was cool. I'm happy to win. I hate fucking speed rounds. I hate it. And I hate when my opponent says, well, I would have given them the first question. Well, fuck, tell the judges that next time. Tell them we're not taking your vote and just let me win it so we don't have to go to the next question. He picked my favorite Friday the 13th movie, too, which really pisses me off, because I was like, yeah, Friday the 13th, the remake. I was like, no, Jason Lives is way better. I ended up winning that. But no. I'm happy to win. I'm sorry that I'm such a disgruntled asshole when you guys are judging and my eyes are rolling and my fans are flipping. That's why I mute.
Apologize. You just apologize.
No, like, I'm sorry to you 3 for making you sit through that, but I don't apologize for anybody watching.
Oh, fair. Fair.
That's why I mute myself, so my voice, like, I don't interrupt. That's why I've always muted myself, just because I want to say shit and I just don't. So no, Jacoby's a fantastic player. This is way different than the last time we played. Like, I've managed him. I think he's a friend of mine. Like, he's a really good player. I believe he could have won tonight, like, easily. So, but yeah, I'm I'm here. I know people are watching this are probably like, fucking just lose already. Well, fucking beat me. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to be here until somebody beats me. And then when somebody beats me, then I'm going to decline my rematch clause, and I'm just going to enter whatever fucking picture so I can beat the rest of the field because I enjoy debating. I like doing this.
It's on tape.
I will. I will admit it right now. I will not be taking any rematch clause at any point. I want to enter whatever I can to play as many times, but I will beat the field of all these people that say, "Oh, I just do this, blah blah blah." No, I want to play, and if it gets me a chance to play, I'll play. So
Yeah, that's I remember it. I knew there was a time it happened. Nick and I didn't use our automatic reshot in Fandom teams. That's why, and it worked out for the schedule that way. But it also we didn't use it. We could have used it. But anyway, Cody, I'm going to list off the people that are coming for you. Here we go. You got Caleb Coho. Yes or no? Just say yes or no.
no,
Brian Michaels.
yes,
Nazario Montenegro.
fuck no,
Rue Moses.
yes,
Joe Farrelly.
yes. After he fought Jacoby, yes,
Bill Carriola.
yes,
Cameron Holtzman. Oh, no, sorry. Cameron John.
no.
And Kurt Kolkowski.
Can I say no? But yeah, I'll see you at the fucking title match, buddy. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
All right, Cody, congrats on retaining the belt. We'll see you at the next one, I believe, which will be at Mayhem at the Multiplex. So we're going to get final thoughts, starting with Kirk. Final thoughts from you.
Yeah, I know very well how both these guys feel right now. I've been in both their shoes. Trivia is one thing, but debate's a whole other animal. When you're fighting these long, I mean, we've been on here for almost call for almost 2 hours now, and they just had to go. And when you lose that, I know how Jacoby feels. You put a lot of time and effort to it, and they both played great. This was definitely a championship level match. I'll say it again. I pointed this out in the rounds, but that first and last questions, they both had very obvious answers to both of those, and the person who didn't have that answer won. That just shows, I think, how good these guys are at debating and coming up with arguments and proving their points. And I think everyone was close. There was no easy vote for me on any of these. So yeah, I think Jacoby will definitely be back here. I think he'll be back here probably quicker than he was since his last title match. And Cody again, it just proved himself to be a juggernaut and is going to be tough to beat. Whoever ends up taking him out is really going to turn it.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark, final thoughts from you.
Yeah, same. Like, this is kind of what I thought it would be. It especially like I knew, even though I think Cody can just kind of bowl over people, but I knew once Jacoby got in here, that wasn't going to happen. He fought for every moment he had to speak, and I feel like he's kind of the one person, he's one of the few people in here that can kind of overtake the conversation from Cody at those points. And I know, at least the way I voted a lot for Cody in this one. But I mean, I went back and forth several on most of these questions. It was I just happened to give the slight nudge to Cody for most of these, and I really like watching Jacoby do this. It's one of my favorite things, at least coming in here and judging these matches.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, guys. Thank you to Kirk and Mark for judging this one and being on here. Thank you to Jacoby and Cody. Obviously, like Kirk said, long videos. Thank you guys for watching. This was a lot of fun to do. So thank you guys so much. We will see you guys very soon with the next picture that's kicking off. We're starting that off with Joe Farrelly going up against Rue. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll see you guys real soon with that. Until then, have a great night. See you.
There we go. Thank you very much. Please come again. We have a lot more groceries.
And there's